Here with inside linebackers coach and defensive coordinator Peter Sirmon ahead of the Week 4 matchup against Florida State. We will go to Jeff Corrado for the first question.
Yeah, how you doing, Peter?
Good afternoon, Jeff.
Can you tell us, what did you guys see in Aiden Keana when you were recruiting him out of the portal? And did you recruit him originally out of high school in the Denver area? What did you see in his game that you thought was going to help you guys?
You know, we saw an athletic interior big guy. And really for what we do on defense, those guys can be somewhat interchangeable between the 3 and the G. Aiden's primarily playing some of the G in the 0, the nose kind of positions for us. But, you're always looking for the guys that have stature and athletic ability, and not that they're going to be dynamic rushers, but the ability to stay in balance, stay square on the line of scrimmage and be strong enough to hold the point. And I think that's what we saw from his time at Notre Dame. I know he had an injury that he missed some time with his ACL, but he recovered incredibly quickly from that, which was a positive sign, just to his work ethic and kind of what his body was capable of doing. And to go all the way back into the high school, Jeff, I would have to double check. I would have to ask the recruiting guys and Coach Browning what our level of interest in the recruiting was him coming out of high school.
You guys have a number of transfer guys. He's about, about as productive as anyone you've gotten out of that group so far. Has he been better than you thought?
I think he's been exactly what we thought. It's because I hate to say what's better or, somebody above standard or below the standard, but I think he's been, first of all, he's been available. He's been productive when he's been on the field. He's made some impact plays, and those are, that position in particular is a very hard position for the public to see impact plays. But as you review film and understand the impact and the implications of having a person like that inside, it really starts. I guess it's probably cliche, but from the inside out, the closer you are to the football, the stronger you have to be, and the harder it is to probably get graded publicly. But internally, those guys are doing a nice job inside.
Thank you.
Go to Jim McGill.
Hey, Peter. With a certain segment of Cal fans, you kind of got labeled as a conservative coach on defense. And this season, we're seeing something a lot different. Is this type of defense where you have the tools at each level to execute what you want, sort of the style you'd like to play, ideally, a more aggressive pursuing defense where you're taking it to them instead of reacting?
Well, that's I think you're always trying to do two things. I think you always have to identify what you're attempting to stop within your conference, within your opponents. And then the second objective is, what is your team? What are the positive traits? What are the things that they can do well? And I don't know if it's conservative. I would have said at the mindset with what we had, what ingredients we were working with and who we were trying to defend. I felt, at the time calling the games, I thought that was the appropriate attack to what we were trying to do to win the games. As we've continued to grow, I think philosophically, I continue to grow as a defensive coach. I've been playing a lot of football. I've been coaching a lot of football. However, I think I would like to look at myself as somebody that can learn, somebody that can adapt, somebody that can be open to new thoughts. And the collection of what we're doing on defense has been a group collection. I feel I'm surrounded by a lot of really good assistant coaches here. I also have a very, very strong defensive-minded head coach, which is a great resource for me. And as we've built this team and added some new parts, we've grown a little bit in what we call and how we coach it, and some other ways that we kind of attack the week.
And just switching gears a little bit, Florida State has struggled on both sides of the ball to some extent. If they are on their game, if you see them at their best, what are you expecting from that team?
Well, really at every level. I mean, the first thing that I always peek at is the offensive line, and they're extremely experienced at the offensive line. And the size and the ability to move people is definitely there. And then you surround that with skill guys that have really, really good talent. So the explosive plays are in that locker room. The ability to hit home runs is in that locker room. And then the quarterback has the opportunity. He can make every throw. He's a very arm talented quarterback. He can make the deep throws. He can make the intermediate throws. Where I think that Florida State hasn't hit their stride. But Coach Norvell is a fantastic coach. He's been doing it at a high level for a long time, and I know that he'll do his very best to get him on track to the way he sees fit.
We'll go to Steve Croner.
Morning, Peter.
Hello, Steve.
You guys, one thing in the last season plus have done very well is take the ball away. And I know every coach on every possession would like to get a turnover, and obviously it's not that easy. And if you had one game where you got 5 turnovers, say at Auburn, maybe it's an aberration. But when you've played 17 games and had as many turnovers created, there is a trend. How much of that is coached? How much of that is the players' innate ability? How have you guys been able to take a ball away so often over the past 17 games?
I'm a big fan of good players. I'm a big fan of players doing what we ask them to do. So, the blend of what we do defensively, taking the ball away is 90% the players and 5-10% of the coaches. I think as a coach, your responsibility is to get the guys prepared to make plays. And I can go back, it's probably 1996, 1997. I was playing in college at the time, and we were not playing exceptionally well on defense. And we kind of went through a philosophical change, I think about 3 games into the year. And when you're learning something for the first time, the amount of mental capital that it takes to do it is 100%. However, as you develop and you build and you have a foundation and you have an understanding, the mental capital to perform, to play your technique continues to minimize. And I think what that does is leave open space for attacking the ball, for seeing the ball, for be able to recognize the tips and the clues of splits of down and distance, because your 100% of your energy is not being forced just into, okay, where do I stand? What do I do? But it allows you to grow as a player. And then, the DBs have taken the ball away, and, it's sometimes you don't see DBs that can catch, but our guys have made some contested balls, and they've caught some, and Noel's gone up and high point a couple of them. There've been some tips, and then sometimes you get a run, and it's a good streak on the takeaways. Interceptions, man, zone. We've had some opportunities to play some zone, which gives us some vision eyes. So if you see some guys, blended over on 1s and 2s, you've seen guys be able to see the ball thrown on some 9 balls, and they can go up and high point them. You've seen a couple other zone concepts where we're divide thirds, and we can see the ball thrown, and then you can go high point it. The interceptions, I think, are fantastic. The real measure is what I love to see is when you start forcing fumbles, and that's the violence in which you play at. We had Teddy Buchanan, I think, is a great example of that Auburn play. I mean, that was a violent, intentional play for him to be able to take that ball away from the running back. So I think it's a long-winded answer, but I think it's more about getting the kids to a level of understanding that they know what to do enough that they can take that secondary objective on and try to take the ball.
Thank you, sir.
We'll go to Cody Henderson next.
Hey, Coach. Florida State in their first 3 games has shown to be pretty screen heavy. How are you guys preparing for that this week? And does it help in your preparation knowing that you just played San Diego State, who did run quite a few screens against you guys?
Yeah, that's a good question. Screens are a great way of getting the ball in playmakers' hands without having to push the ball down the field. It creates, in my opinion, it kind of creates some artificial space. You kind of get layered between the first and the second level of the defense, and it really requires all the front guys to retrace or, break out of the stack and to get those playmakers with the ball early in the down allows them a lot of flexibility. So the way we play screens here is it's an 11 people. You have to retrace. We have to what we call set in the shoot. Whoever's the force defender needs to put that ball in the shoot so the other 9-10 guys can trap that ball appropriately. The teams that have played well against Florida State that really jumped off the screen to me was the defenses. I mean, they're playing exceptionally hard, and the D line are breaking the stacks, and they're doing a great job of retracing, and they're playing hard every single snap. And to have any chance against Florida State, all 11 of us are going to have to play extremely hard every single snap, just because of the speed and the skill they have on the field.
Thanks, Coach.
We'll go to Matt Moreno.
Morning, Coach.
Morning.
Regardless of what the numbers say, or maybe even what we're writing about, what are some things that you're seeing right now internally with the things that you focus on that you guys see as strengths for your defense at this point in the season?
I'd probably go back and say that I think the kids have a good understanding of what we're asking them to do. There's always formations, there's always plays that definitely come up that we have to address. But I think in large, the understanding, the spacings, the alignments have been probably actually a little bit better than I anticipated with some of the increase in some of the volumes of the calls we've had. So I think it's a big part. And I think it goes back into how the coaches are handling them in our position meetings, on the field, and all those other things. I think the guys have done a good job of making things as simple as possible. They're not simple, but I think you can simplify things that you do defensively. And I think the coaches are doing a nice job, and the kids are absorbing it.
And then ex-Carlton had a productive performance, last week. How would you kind of rate his season so far, especially with, not having Reese out there?
I've been really proud of Xavier. Xavier is an extremely physical player, especially in the run game. He's a person that, as you study us, sometimes you can see run game going away from him because of where we stand him on the football field. But he's made some plays in the run game. He's been a hard guy to block in the run game. We play him out, from a 9 to a 6 to a 4. So he's got quite a bit of versatility. And then he's had a really good production of playing some of the snaps and outworking the blocker and getting some sacks and getting some additional production that way.
We'll circle back to Jeff Ferraro.
Nolan Williams, from the time he was in UNLV till the 2 years with you guys, has obviously taken the ball away a lot. Can you explain what his skill set is that allows him to do that? What makes him such a good player against the pass that way?
Well, Noel enjoyed some strong physical characteristics. He's got good length. He's got good height. He has really clean ball skills. You saw the kick return, against Davis that he ended up scoring a touchdown on. So he has a good natural feel for it. I think he has really good balance. He's off. Like you rarely see Noel on the ground. And then I think, he's had the opportunity to high point some things, to outcompete some of the receivers that he's had. And I think this year you're seeing a much improved version of Noel. When he first got here, we were extremely excited about what he was. I think he has continued to really surpass that from his first year to his second year here. The way he handles himself on the field, the way he's preparing himself, the way he's taking care of his body, I'm extremely proud of that he has seen those results, because he's really pouring in to himself and pouring into being the best version he can for the team.
You guys have obviously sent a lot of DBs to the NFL to see a guy who has a chance to play on Sunday.
Absolutely. He has cover ability. He has, he's more than a willing tackler. He has ball skills to return kicks, and he's got nice stature. So I think he's definitely somebody that has that opportunity to continue to play after us.